Joining me, Judith. I am back. We're going to have a quite interesting conversation about imposter syndrome and doubting yourself, and then, having six-figure launches. So, anyway, Judith, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Sigrun.
So, Judith, you, for a time, you were kind of known for your imposter syndrome and always doubting yourself, but, very well educated, a lot of experience. So let's go back to the time what you were doing before you started your online business.
Yeah, so before I jumped into this adventure, I was a freelance copywriter and I was really, really good at this. Like, I had a lot of awards. I had like the greatest clients. I worked for the most prestigious advertising agencies, but still, I felt like, okay, now I had three children. And I felt that the advertising agencies were hesitant to book me the way they did before, because nobody mentioned that it was because of my three children, but I was pretty sure. Yeah, so, as soon as I had my first child, it was still okay. But as soon as I had my second child, I felt that things are changing. And I was looking for like a new way to earn money, to do something awesome, to like all the knowledge that was in my head, all this creativity, to put it somewhere to work where I was not so dependent on being booked. So yeah, so this was my situation. Three little children. The last, like the little one was only like, I don't know, 1 year and a few months old when I decided, okay, things have to change now.
Yeah. And you decided to jump into this program called SOMBA and work with this crazy lady in red.
Yeah, so it was really interesting because I had no idea what I wanted to do. I just knew things have to change, but I didn't know exactly. I didn't even know that something like online business existed, although I was working for online agencies, and I was making a lot of campaigns for digital like internet and everything. I did not have some idea of online business.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know that this was like a thing or that this was a possibility for me. So I just saw I saw this lady in red, and somehow, I don't know, I just had the feeling that this is something that could be like the way that lies ahead of me. I had no idea what I was like signing up for at that time. I just knew that like I could trust you with everything that I've seen from you, and that I will be in good hands. So this was like almost everything that I knew. And then I still remember the moment where I pulled out my credit card to book it, because this was such a special moment for me, because I have never ever booked something or bought something on the internet that was so expensive for me. Like I don't know, I barely buy at Amazon because I'm like, oh, I'd rather go to the bookstore. I don't want to do it online. So so this was like the first step of getting out of my comfort zone, and this was like the first step of many steps that led to my like successes that I now have, and I'm so happy that I did it back then, because
Yeah.
this changed everything.
Yes, it has changed everything. And what was that first course you created? Like, we're talking about SOMBA Kickstart. We called it for summer school at the time. What were your first steps into online business?
Yeah, so my first online course was a copywriting course, writing your copy for your website. And like back then it seemed like a super idea to put everything in 4 weeks. Now I'm having a course where I'm doing all this maybe in half a year or in, I don't know, like quite some months. I give the people more time. But back then I made my very first online course, and I was, of course, the queen of over delivering. But this was the first step. And
Yeah,
I've seen, okay, I saw it works.
yeah,
And it was like, okay, I have something to teach. It's not only that I have good ideas for advertising agencies, for campaigns, for headlines. I can also teach this.
yeah.
And this was such a, I don't know, like a mindset breakthrough for me, that I can actually teach this. Wow.
Your passion was blogging, but you picked, teaching people how to write their website copy as a first step. Now looking back, you are actually focusing more on blogging, like you have niched down. But you had to go through that. You had to,
Yeah.
this is what you thought was the best course idea at the time. And now looking back, you needed that, and now you have something a little bit different. You're still teaching copy, but you have niche down on blogging.
Yes.
Yeah. So what happened after that first website course?
Yeah, so after this first website course, I was still thinking, okay, what is the perfect thing for me? Because there were so many things that I could teach. I could teach how to develop your claim, how to write a newsletter, how to write website copy, how to blog. There were so many possibilities. So I made an upsell. It was blogging. It was my very first money that I made with online business, and I was like, wow, I can make money with this. Because blogging was my hobby, and I could never have believed that this was something that people would pay me for. So it was, I don't know, it was just incredible. So this was my very first course that I made. And after that, like a few months in fall 2018, I made I launched the very first course again that I made, the copywriting course, and I had I don't know, a crazy conversion rate of over 20%. And I was like, okay.
Wow.
So,
Things are taking off despite
yes,
all your doubts, your own
yes,
doubts. Yeah.
yes. So this was a very hard time for me because, yeah, there were these doubts that I had. I had these doubts also as a copywriter. So I had like for years and years, really this imposter syndrome that every time that a new agency was asking me to work for them, or like I had a very cool, prestigious project, I always thought, now they will find out that my ideas are just like by chance, or that I'm really not as good as they think. And I don't know, it was so it was so crazy. And then when I started my online business, yeah, so I also had these doubts, but they were changing like quite fast, because there was nobody above me that could judge what I was doing. And
Mm,
this was helping me a lot, because now I was my creative director myself. And
yes.
so this has also changed everything. And as soon as I realized this, I always wanted to become a creative director. And and as soon as I had children, I had to give up this dream, and it was really, really hard. But then a month ago, I realized I am my own creative director, my own creative directrice.
Yeah.
And this is like, bam.
And you are the only one judging you.
Yes,
You are putting the doubts in your head. They're not
yes,
coming from anyone else, but they might
yes,
be from some old stories, but you know all of that, the limiting beliefs and all that stuff, how you change it. So you've broken through many glass ceilings. You did Samba Summer School 2018. We're now doing this interview in 21. A lot has happened. What
yes.
have been some of the highlights during this time?
Yeah, I always try to remember all the highlights because there are so many. So on May 1st, I hired my husband as my first employee. And this was before we even made revenue with our online business, but we knew it's going to be successful. I was just,
2018. Yeah.
yeah, I just knew it's going to be successful.
Yeah.
So this was 2018. Then at the end of 2018, like in my first year of online business, I made my first 5-figure launch. And I was so proud. Yeah, because as a freelancer, I was used to earning like 4,000 or 5,000 euros, sometimes even 6 or 7,000, but I've never had a 5-figure month.
Yeah.
And it was like my first, like, bam, 5-figure month. Okay, now I can do this even more often. Then in 2019, we bought a house, and this was something that was unimaginable a year before.
Yeah.
So this was such a, like, I don't know, this was so scaling up. And yeah, it was so funny because we went to the bank and they were looking at our numbers, and they always look at the numbers like in the past years. But then they've seen 2018, 2019. Oh, something has changed.
Yes.
So these
You
are the
were even
highlights. And
able,
then,
you were even able to keep your prior apartment.
yes. Yeah, because everybody was telling me, yeah, you need to sell first something. You need to sell your flat in Stuttgart in order to buy something new. And I was like, why can't I have everything?
Yeah.
Like, why do I have to give up something to have something else? And so this was also like the step towards these mindset breakthroughs, that I don't have to decide which way to go. I can have more. I don't have to limit myself to one thing. So this was a great breakthrough in 2019. And in 2020, at the end of 2020, we made our first six-figure launch. And
That was wow, from 10,000 to six figures. That's 10 times.
yeah, that was incredible. It's somehow always happening in December, January, like these huge breakthroughs in my business. And it's so interesting to see where I have been a few years ago. And then I always take these steps. And I have made, it's also a funny story. I have made a vision board at the very beginning of 2018, like in your course. And like literally, I can like check everything from that vision board. I had to do something new. I had to write a new vision because everything that I envisioned back then for my 10-year future has become reality.
So it took only 3 years instead of 10 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what's happening this year? We are expecting more success stories now.
Yeah, so now I just wrapped up my last launch. It was super successful. I'm really, really happy. We made, I don't know, over 50K, like 50,000 euro. It was like something I always also could not believe that this was happening. Yeah, and the next breakthroughs, like I'm launching again in July. I'm expecting a great launch. I'm launching again in December. And yeah, it's rinse and repeat. I try out different kinds of launch strategies, but it's somehow like everything. It's always about blogging. It's always about overcoming your mindset issues. So like I have this like yeah, so this product. I have this idea, and then I'm creating something awesome around it. And I love to create this buzz in my launches and to create like these raving fans. And yeah, so this is what I'm planning for this year.
And so, talking about revenue, you started your online business to replace your freelance income. You were also teaching at a university. What did you do there?
Yeah, so I'm teaching at a university. I'm a lecturer, and I teach copywriting and concept development. And I also have taught for a few years like PR and journalism. And this was, of course, something that I love doing. And of course, I was teaching my students how to blog because this is what I love and what I love doing and what I really think is like the most important thing for them, because they all use like Instagram and Facebook and everything. And I'm like, yeah, but we need to create something substantial, something that remains there on the internet also in 10 years. And they're like, okay, let's do it. Let's blog. Yeah. So this was something that I've always also been doing. And yeah, so another thing that comes to my mind, just at the last weekend, we have surpassed our revenue from last year. So this is something so crazy. So, and you've always told us, yeah, the second half of the year is the stronger one because we have the winter, we have the fall.
Yeah.
And I can't even imagine, like I'm going to double my revenue, like at least double my revenue from last year.
Yeah.
Wow. So,
How
yeah.
does that change your life to make this kind of money?
Yeah, it's yeah, it's a change on so many levels because I'm living a life that is full of freedom right now. Like I really have a free life because I'm not dependent on anybody else, and I can do what I like, I can do what I love, and I'm earning money with this. And I don't have to wait until someone is buying my like my copywriting skills or something. So this has changed, and yeah, of course, my mindset has changed a lot, and now we have the freedom to make other decisions that we could not make before. You know, alone the decision to buy a house or the decision to maybe I don't know, like go somewhere else for half a year or something like that. This was impossible. Like 2 years ago, this was not even an idea in my head. And another thing that has changed, that has really, really changed my life is I always had the feeling, like when I had my third child, that there was not supposed to be any more adventure in my life because now I'm a mother, I have 3 children, and now I have to live a life of security and to provide for my children and for my family. And so nothing else was supposed to be there, me being a mother, and this was like my future. And now with online business, being a mother is just like one part of my life. And I have so like grown this other part of myself so much that I don't define myself over my children or over my family. They're just one part of my life. Yeah. And my life is now full of adventures, of learnings, of I don't know, growing. And somehow like even my parents see this and they're so happy for me because they say that, you're living a life that we could not have envisioned for you because we did not have these possibilities. And they're so happy for us, like having all these possibilities and for, going for our dreams. And they're just, happy for us. And I love that my life is full of adventures, of fun, and of possibilities that I just have to like pick, like which possibility, which way do I want to go? There are so many ways now and so many, I don't know how to tell, but
Well, you have limitless choices. You
yeah,
can do whatever you want. You are teaching something you thought no one would pay for. So you're basically doing what you love and getting paid for it. How cool is that? Yeah.
awesome. Yeah,
Working
so
with your
it's so much.
husband. Yeah. Working with your husband. So it's a
Yeah.
family business. Yeah.
Yeah, and also this is so funny because like my husband being in the family business now he like also understands what pressure was on me as a freelancer and as the provider for the family and breadwinner. And now we also like I have the feeling that we have grown together more as a family, and this is so much worth because so many couples don't understand each other maybe so much because they are working like in different like businesses or whatever, and like they're both tired when they come home, and so we have a better understanding for each other, and we also spend more time with our children, and this is so much worth. And it's not just only that we have like a business that is running well, but we also have a life that is different from before, and it's so much better because we are not that burnt out. Of course sometimes we have exhausting like times, especially like in the middle of a launch, okay, but we know that afterwards it's going to be easier.
Yeah.
And like we can hire a bigger team because we have made money, and so like my work is reducing but our income is going up, and so this is so crazy because like as an employee, like with this employee mindset, these things should not be possible. So working less and earning more, and this has so much changed everything because like I am surrounded by people who are employees and they don't understand how we are working, they don't understand this concept. And it's so funny that, for example, Laszlo is one of the few fathers that is visible in the kindergarten because he takes the children there sometimes, or in the school. And people are not used to this because they only see the mothers. and, and so with online business, we have the freedom to be more there for our children, to care more for them, to spend more time with them. And of course, people see this and they're like, oh, that's interesting. How
Yeah.
do they do that?
You're being a role model for other parents, plus for your own children, which I think is
Yes,
so important for us women to show, especially girls, what's possible.
yes. Yeah, so I have one daughter,
Yeah.
and like this was my first child, and like after she was born, I really had to think about this. Like, how do I like what do I want to show her? Like, what kind of role model do I want to be for her? And so this has like already her birth has changed, has maybe paved the road for my later online business, and so then I have, of course, also two sons now, and these are my two children. And they are. It's so interesting because my daughter has said something to me a few months earlier, and she said something like, "Mom, you are not like the other mothers." And this was something that has touched me so much because she sees how we work differently, and we are not like we are not striving always for the weekend or for the next holiday. I don't even know if there's a holiday like the 1st of May. I totally forgot that this was a holiday.
I couldn't do. Yeah, because your life is good. You don't have to wait for the weekend or wait for
Yeah.
holidays because life is good as it is. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, like in my family, of a lot of employees, and also in my surrounding and my friends, and like there are a lot of employees, and I always see how they are like always planning for the weekend. And I'm like, what? Plans for the weekend? Okay, how interesting. And how they always have to ask for holidays and to take days off. And this is such a freedom that we don't have to do this. It gives us so many possibilities that the children are sick, no problem. Or like homeschooling, no problem. Of course, it was like maybe at sometimes also difficult, but it was so much easier to handle for us. where we are both in our family business than for others that we've seen around us. So yeah.
What final words would you have for someone who is like thinking about going on this journey and I'm like, should I go for it, should not?
Yeah, this is so funny because I didn't even think about this twice. So I just jumped in there. And the only advice that I can give is just do it. You cannot even imagine what this will change in your life. And my advice is really just do it. Trust the process, because I was also trusting the process back then. I did not exactly know, like, oh my God, what do I have to do? But you gave us everything that we needed to do. And this made it so easy. And so this was like, yeah, my way back then. And this is also what I'm telling others. Just do it. Trust Zigron, trust the process. It will turn out fine.
Yeah. Judith, thank you so much for sharing and congratulations again to your last launch. And I'm
Thank
excited
you.
what will unfold this year.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Thank you so much.